Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. In this video, I'm going to be using my DIY jetter to clear a kitchen drain. Guys, check out the description for my approach to building this cart. So if you're interested in doing something similar, you'll have something to follow. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this kitchen drain using the cart that I built. This idea is going to be a DIY approach. But what you see, the methodology that I use here is what I've learned from watching the professionals. And I think it's going to be a simple, repeatable process for most people. So what we'll do now is look at our setup. Alright, so this is our setup. There is a clean out down here, but I'm going to cut in another one on the ABS. So at some point, the galvanized rotted out. And then you see the original galvanized up top. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a clean out down here. I'm going to send my jetter down about 25 feet, and hopefully that's going to clear out this line. So this line takes about 30 seconds to back up. So my initial thought here is the blockage is way down here. But with that in mind, what we'll do now is material and tools. Alright, this is the materials list for this job. So because grease is going to be involved, latex gloves, I'm going to be cutting in a line cleanout. So ABS glue and then a line cleanout. Guys, this is the materials list for this job. So what we'll do now is the tools list. Alright, this is the tools list for this job. So what you see here is a basic overview of what you're roughly going to need for drain cleaning with a hydro jetter. So first of all, a hose. You need to connect to water somewhere. This is my DIY cart that I built. So it's an electric pressure washer. I mounted the reel, I have the hose, I have a small container. This is going to be for my fittings, which are down here. Guys, we will go into this stuff. Some stuff that came with the jetter hose kit. You've got a quick disconnect, a couple other nozzles here. Flashlight, big flathead screwdriver, 5/16 nut driver, ratchet with a 5/16 bit. That is going to be for these nuts here. Channel locks, Crescent wrench, a couple buckets and containers. Remember, since we're hydrojetting, there will be water. But guys, this is the tools list for this job. So what we'll do now is we'll go through some of this stuff so you can see how it's going to work. On this particular job, I don't need this stuff, but for other jobs, it will be a thing, but I will wait until there's a video for that to actually show you, but I can demo now with what I have to work with. All right, a few features that I added from when I built the car. First of all, I've got a shut-off valve. So this will have the garden hose that will connect into this. I want to be able to shut water off at the unit in case there's some type of emergency. So that's our water shut-off. And then I also have an electrical plug up here. So you flick the switch and that's going to cut power to the unit. You do have an on-off switch here, but if you have the power right beside where you're working and the unit is outside, then you're going to want to have power close by because you don't want to run this unit when water's shut off. So you need to be able to shut off your power and your water at a moment's notice, and it needs to be in a convenient way. All right, so starting out with our jetter hose. So it has nozzles and then you can change out the nozzles. To me, they all look the same, but apparently they do different things. But you're going to take a Crescent wrench here, channel locks and Crescent wrench, unspin it, and then when you throw on the new one, make sure you also use Teflon tape. So for our entry point through a clean out, this is an 1.5 inch kitchen slip adapter, but it will fit a fitting clean out. It's all the same threads. Now, this is a rubber cap, and in this rubber cap there is a slit. The idea is that when you slide the nozzle in, this here is going to keep the water on the back side. Remember, with even 2,000 pounds, it's going to be a lot of water and you don't want to make a mess. And that's when the container is going to come in as well, because wherever you're going into your clean out, you want to have a container underneath it. That's why I have different sizes of containers. Now, we have a Y here. So let's just say that we put our MJ clamp onto there, and then we'll remove this. All right, this will be going into the clean out. Now we have our MJs that we can use our 5/16 nut driver to tighten, and that will make everything removable. Now with the cap here, you can put it onto the end, and this is where your hose is going to go into. The Y, if you have a huge amount of obstruction in the pipe, as you're blasting water in, it can't come out here, so all that water has to go somewhere. So it's going to come down the branch. So if you leave it just above here, all that water is going to have a place to go, and then you're going to be cleaning out as you need to. So this is going to be, grease buildup will be bad, but this is the way you're going to do it. And then I'll have other fittings. If I need to move something over, or if I even need to extend this, you can always glue a piece in here, which I will do later on, and then you can redirect this, even something like that. So for these MJs, these are mechanical joints. These are shielded clamps for cast iron. A big box store, as far as I know, at least here in my area, they don't carry these things. You have to go to a plumbing wholesaler. This rubber cap, they might have it at a big box store, I don't know. But this is going to be your combination of different fittings and clamps to be able to get your jetter into the drain. And if you have a bad blockage, you're also going to give the place the water to go as you're cleaning it out. All right, guys, this is the tools list here. If this doesn't make sense to you right now, that's okay. Hopefully at the end of the video, you'll have a better understanding. But with that in mind, what we'll do now is clear this kitchen. All right, so I think I'm gonna just cut the coupling out. Yeah, looks like a good fit. So there's a little bit of grease buildup. So you can see the grease on the back side. It's not too bad. So this supports my theory that the issue is in the ground. But I will take a quick look up the vertical portion and see if there's anything there. Huh. It's lovely when it's dry fit. Alright, so I have my initial setup here. The hose is inside the drain. Now, you see the white tape here? That shows 25 feet. I don't ever intend to go more than 25 feet with this setup here. This is just a DIY setup. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to feed the jetter down till I hit the tape. And then I'm going to turn on water, turn on power, and then I'm going to work my way back outward towards the clean out. Now keep in mind it's also galvanized in the bottom, so it may be a little bit tougher to get through. Okay, well, I'm going to turn on the unit and then I'll see if I can send the water down and if we can push it down any farther. Alright, so I'm going to turn the water onto the unit. Alright, water is going down the pipe. And now I'm going to turn the unit on. So keep in mind that the jetter head has 3 nozzles or 4 or whatever it is shooting backwards and then 1 in front. It is generally better to start lower down and then work the jetter back towards you and then keep spinning the hose as you move along. Here I'm wrapping the hose around my hand, and that's going to give me the ability to spin the hose down the drain. Remember that you want to spin the hose to get the jetters spinning all the way around inside the drain. We want to break up all the grease and build up inside the drain, and this is going to take a little while. It may take more than one pass. Now the one thing here is as well, I don't have a camera, so I can't actually confirm how clean it is or if there's any spots that need to be done. This is why this is a DIY setup. In this case here, because this is an unfinished basement, so I've got a lot of flexibility to go ahead and do work without making a mess or fear of making a mess. But what you're also going to do is as you pull the hose out, you're either going to hear the water flowing or it's going to start to bubble back up. Now, because this is a vertical run, for the most part, the water shouldn't be bubbling out, but it depends on what the level of the blockage is. So this is going to be case by case. I've seen drains that are plugged with 30 feet worth of grease that took a couple hours for a professional jetter to get out. And then I've seen some small areas that have been plugged and then the rest of the piping was fine. At the time of the recording of this video, I was just on a job with a professional contractor because it was a sewer that had roots in it and there was no way that I could do anything in such a short time frame. But I was told at that time, which was roughly a month prior to this video, that their rate was $400 an hour. Of course, that's plus tax and everything else. So you're going to be up in a couple $100 range right off the bat. Remember, for time and material, it takes maybe an hour to set up and clean up, or 2 hours in total. So this is all going to start adding up in cost very quickly. By me doing this job here, I will have paid off my entire setup. Well, another thing to keep in mind is with this jetter kit, there were multiple nozzles, so you can always change your nozzles out. But like I said, because there's no actual camera to do an inspection, you're going to be doing this blindly as long as you're getting good flow. So if you fill up, in this case, this kitchen sink, this tube compartment, if you fill up both compartments and it drains well, then you're probably in pretty good shape. But this is where the limitation of being a DIYer is going to come in. You don't have professional tools, and a camera nowadays is in the $15,000 range. So it's not practical for a DIYer to go get unless you're doing this professionally. So at this point, I've almost brought the jetter hose all the way back out. I can hear the echo of the water going down the pipe. Remember, with ABS, it's really loud, so it's easy to hear where you are. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut down the unit and then fill up the sink and see how much flow there is. Okay, so I'm going to take the cap out and nothing comes out, which means the blockage, or a blockage, is above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go up vertically this time. Alright, I sent the jetter through it, made a big mess. I think this is, ooh. Oh, I bet that's part of the problem right there. I wonder if that's actually it, because it was still backed up, but there's a blockage up here. And now keep in mind this is all galvanized, so it's a lot more susceptible to getting backed up. I wonder if that was it right there, but I'm going to put this back together and then I'm going to fill up the sink full of water once again. Alright guys, so that concludes this job. So when it comes to drain cleaning, what I've learned is be prepared for an unexpected amount of time. You don't know how many times you're going to have to send your jetter through. It's going to depend on the layout of the house, how long the accumulation has been building up for, and other factors. But I'm going to say, as a ballpark for time, the minimum is going to be 2 hours. So 2 hours, that is going to be your setup and your cleanup time, along with doing your drain cleaning. Now, of course, because there is no camera here, you're going to have to put everything back together, fill the sink, and then see how much flow you're getting through the sink. If it's not working all that well, then you're going to have to do it again. And this is where the unknown amount of time is going to come in. The cost of this job. The cost, I'm going to say, is $25. What is $25? That's your gloves, paper towel, fuel, whatever else you're going to need to do this job consistently. Once your original investment has already been done, then you're going to be able just to repeat the process and then change out the few parts that wear out with time. But other than that, this is going to be cost effective after the initial investment, the original build has already been done and is ready to go. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope what I've shown you here that I've learned watching professionals is going to help you on your drain cleaning journeys when those come up. Guys, listen, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.